So this is our topology. I'll take one more router here in between. So this router is like, assume like this is the ISP router. So we have two different LANs. This is one LAN and this one is another LAN. So here to here connectivity and here to here. In between we'll take IP range like here. This IP address is for this fast Ethernet 0x3 port IP address is 11.1.1.1/24 and fast Ethernet 0x0 port IP address 11.1.1.2 IP address will take, and here we'll take 1 2 different network. We'll take 2./24 and this IP address is 12.1.1.1 IP address. So we'll take here and we'll configure here in from scratch. We'll give the assign the IP address. How we'll assign the IP address to end host? So for that 192.168.10.10 IP address and done. Just move to desktop IP configurations. Then
We have
another PC
10.1 there for the PC.
for this PC is 10.192.168.10.10 and default gateway is 192.168.10.1. 10.1 is the default gateway. What is default gateway? Rikvita, what is the default gateway?
It is connected to the switches.
Entry or exit points.
Again,
Entry or exit point.
what entry and exit? Which entry and exit point? Yes, entry and exit point.
It's an
Data-
intermediary device. It acts like an intermediary device between different networks.
Intermediate device.
Yeah, between like if one PC wants to communicate with another PC which is in different subnetwork, then we need to use a default gateway.
Okay. So, right, it is an entry and exit point of different network. It is an entry and exit point of different network. So, this is a different network and this one is a different network and this one is a different network. This different network. These are all are the different networks. Which how many VLANs are available here? All are the different. You can assume like this is account department, sales department, HR department. All are having the different networks. So for that, whenever we configure the 192 for this is a router of part, it's like default gateway of this PC. This is a default gateway of this PC. This is a default gateway of this PC, where here we are configuring that IP address. So that is the entry and exit point. If we want to communicate, so for the him, so this is a default gateway, exit and entry point. That is, we call it as a default gateway. So for this 192.168, 60.10 IP address and subnet mask is 255.255.250.0 and default gateway is 192.168.60.1 and for this PC 192.168.70.10. Basically, I have taken only one PC for entire departments. If you want to take and add more on PCs, how many PCs required for you? That many PCs you can add up to 254 PCs. In this subnet mask, how many PCs are available actually for /24? It's a /24. This is a network bit and network bit and network bit. These all are the three network bits. Only one is the host bit. In this host bit, it's a basically class. Which class IP address? Which class of IP address is this one?
It's class C.
Yes. In class C, how many host bits are available?
Uh, 8.
Bits, that is bits, and only this is a host bit is 1. This is a network bit, and this one is a network bit, and this one is a network bit. 3 are the network bits, only one host bit. In this host bit, we have a 254 IP addresses. So you can attach here, you can add on here up to 254 IP addresses, 250 PCs. You can add for this network up to 255, 254 PCs like this. Yes, I have configured. So entire PC, I have statically assigned the IP addresses here. Statically, I have assigned the IP addresses to entire PCs, every PC. Now move to here. So for this switch, first we are configuring here. So I'll explain the topology now here. So this switch is a server mode, virtual trunking, VLAN trunking protocol. VLAN trunking protocol. VTP stands for VLAN trunking protocol. We have a 3 modes. In that server mode, it will be whenever you are configuring as a server mode, it will be propagate VLAN information, and if server to server, it will be sync in when if within a LAN if available, it is router, so we have to configure. So DTP client, here we have another access switches act as like client mode. Client will take the VLAN information, but it won't transfer those information. It will be transferred to neighbors also. Whenever we are configuring client mode VLANs, we cannot configure here. If you are trying to configure it, you cannot it configure. I'll show you. So this is a server mode, VTP server mode. So for that, before that, we'll enable the DTP dynamic trunking protocol. In between, trunking is required. So we'll configure DTP in between. So that is dynamic desirable. If here DA and if here DA, by default mode is dynamic auto mode. So if you want to check, show interface fast Ethernet 0/1, and this interface I'm checking, and switch port mode. So that is dynamic auto. If dynamic auto, so trunk will not form. Show interface trunk. You can check here. Show interface trunk. So it is established in between, because earlier I have configured, I think. So interface fast Ethernet 0/1 switch port mode. So here you can check the dynamic desirable, the mode here configured. So what we'll do, we'll remove the switch here. We'll delete this switch and we'll add new switch here. So now you can check here, new switch enabled, show interface trunk, no trunking in between, no trunk form in between. If this is a dynamic switch port mode is dynamic desirable and dynamic auto in between trunk will be formed, that is DTP. We had a discussion about this. Go through the videos. Config terminal interface fast Ethernet 0/1 will enter in this interface. So we'll change the switch port mode now. Switch port mode dynamic desirable. Once you configure this as a dynamic desirable, in between trunk will be formed. So you can check here once the STP election is done. Show spanning tree. So now, so make sure this switch has a server switch and this switch as a root bridge. Make sure this server switch as a root bridge. So how we'll configure as a root bridge? So STP spanning tree and we'll configure entire for VLANs. VLAN 1 to 4096 entire VLANs. You want to check, see here how many VLANs 124096 and priority will change. So you cannot configure by default any priority whichever you require. So we have some rules. So in that only we have to take the priority. So 4096 I'll configure. Otherwise 0 also you can configure it. No issue. I'll configure as 0. So now check show spanning tree. This bridge as a root. This bridge as a root. This switch as a root. So now priority is 0 actually. So priority is 0, but here showing the priority is 1. One is a VLAN. So this entire configuration is 1, VLAN 1. So if you can check here, the priority by default priority is how much? By default priority is 32768 actually. So it is 32768. Now you can check here. This is a root bridge entire configuration. So root bridge priority is 1 because VLAN 1 and by default priority is 32768, but it will be add the VLAN IP VLAN also. So that is the reason 32769. 32769. That is the reason it's showing. So here spanning tree. All the ports are forwarding state. No DP ports. Now we'll configure for this interface also. In what will configure trunk. So interface trunk. Only one interface is showing here. Config terminal interface fast Ethernet 0/2 and switch port mode dynamic desirable. Same thing. So trunking done. Show interface trunk. 2 trunks are established. 2 interfaces trunk is established in between all for all the VLANs. Now move to the configuration part of VTP configuration. Config terminal. DTP part done. Now VTP part. In VTP. For that, domain name should be matched. Both entire topology. Domain name should be matched. VTP domain name is, you can check here. Domain name must match, and password and version. These things. Domain name Cisco and VTP password is Cisco and VTP version is two versions we have here, 1, 2, and apart from that, three versions we have mostly version 1, version 2, version 3, but here packet tracer will support only version 2 up to. Done. And if you want to change the mode, already this is a server mode only. You can check. Show VTP status. With this command, will verify the which status is the server, which status, and what is the name of domain, and which mode it is. Operating mode is server. So no need to configure it. If you want to configure, how will change if you want to configure. So here configuration of mode and give that client mode, server mode, and transparent mode. And transparent mode, whenever you are configuring the transparent mode, it will be implement himself only. It won't forward the VLANs. It won't forward the VLANs whenever you are modifying VLAN. Whenever we are creating the VLAN, it will be take himself only. So here in client mode, we cannot change the VLAN name. We cannot add the VLAN. We cannot do anything. I'll show you in client mode. But in server mode only, we can create VLANs and all. So server mode. So already server mode. So this is a VTP domain name is. This is a VTP client will configure for these switches. And before that, how we will change the host name? Host name. So host name is MLS multi-layer switch 1. So for this, save the configuration, write command or copy. So if you want to check, show startup configuration, nothing is there. So startup configuration only the entire configuration whichever the stored in NVRAM. If router power issue, any issue also is there. So if we reload the route switch, so entire configuration will be gone. It will be not shown. So that is entire configuration is available in running configuration only. So we haven't saved this configuration. So we'll save, copy, running configuration. Where? In startup. In the NVRAM, we are saving this configuration. So now you can check, show startup configuration. So entire configuration. Earlier we cannot look this same command I have used here. So startup, it is not visible, but now it is visible. Now you can say check here entire this command. So we'll configure here VTP configuration, VTP. VTP mode. Before that, we'll configure the domain name. Domain name is Cisco. Make sure the name should be same. And VTP password Cisco and VTP version is 2. Same thing we'll do here. enable interface, sorry, VTP version 2, VTP domain name cisco, VTP password is 2, sorry, VTP password is cisco, version is 2. Okay, now we'll configure domain name. VTP mode is client. Once you configure the client, you cannot change anything. VTP mode is client. Try to configure some VLAN. VLAN 10. So here you cannot configure the VLAN also. No, not allowed when the device is client mode. We cannot configure the VLAN also. Configuration matter. So where we have to configure, do show VLAN. Any VLANs are available? Yeah, by default VLAN whichever we have, VLAN 1, VLAN 102, 1002, 1003. This is a by default VLANs only available. So we'll configure now VLAN from where in server switch, then only it will be propagate config. So VLAN 10 name HR and exit VLAN 20 name point exit VLAN 40 name sales exit and VLAN 50 name any ABC exit and check here. Now show VLAN. Earlier no VLANs are available here. Now you can check here in this switch also. So VLAN. So VTP part we have to configure like this. So VTP will propagate the VLAN information. If you want to try to configure in this stage, no, we cannot modify also. VLAN 10, we cannot configure it, we cannot modify it, we cannot do anything. If you want to try to modify it, we cannot modify also. If you want to modify from here, yes. VLAN 60 name we have given 50, we had a given name ABC. Now if you want to give the name, change the name, is X, Y, Z. We have changed the name. Now exit from here and now check here. Earlier the name is ABC. Now check. So VLAN XYZ. Yes, we can modify also. We can modify the VLAN name also. Now done. Now we'll assign the IP address. Now we have configured the VLANs. So now give the IP addresses. SVI switch virtual interfaces. How we are assigning switch virtual interfaces. So for that interface. So now check here VLANs. Show IP interface brief. So we don't have any IP addresses. So we should have to assign the default gateway. So what we discussed about default gateway, it is a exit and entry point of different network. So we have to assign where in these switches. So we have not assigned anything. So config terminal interface fast Ethernet VLAN. Sorry. Interface VLAN. Interface VLAN 10. It's a virtual interface. By default, it is always up only. By default is up only. So now you can assign the IP address. IP address 192.168.10.1. We are assigning the virtual interface IP address. So that is virtual interface. Which virtual interface? SVA. It's an interview question. What is SVA? So no need to do no shutdown also. So VLAN 10 IP address is assigned. You can check show IP interface brief. Only one IP address, that is VLAN 10. Like same way we have to assign manually here. Just move to the global configuration and interface VLAN 20. Select the interface and give the IP address. IP address is 192.168.20.1 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and no shutdown not required. Exit from here and interface VLAN 40 and give the IP address. IP address is 192.168.40.1 and 255.255.255.0 and exit from here and interface VLAN is 50 and IP address is 192.168.50.1 and subnet mask 255.255.255.0 and exit from here and show IP interface brief. Check here and save the configuration right. Is we have configured virtual interfaces, that is VLAN 10, VLAN 20, VLAN 40, VLAN 50 code we have configured. So for multi-layer switch part done, we assign the trunk port also in between. So these ports we have not assigned. So here we have to assign the access ports. So what is the difference between access port and trunk port? What is the difference between
Access ports can carry only one VLAN, whereas trunk ports can carry multiple VLANs.
Multiple VLANs.
So if I'll assign here the access port, what is the happen? If I'll assign in between the access port, so what is any issue will become or not? Anything issue? So what is the issue for that?
PCs cannot communicate outside the gateway.
Outside the gate. So we should have to assign the trunk port only in between. So great. So how will assign the access port? Commands.
Which
Tell me
port mode
commands. So okay. Switch
Which
port mode
interface.
access.
Interface fast Ethernet.
0/2 and now tell me switch port
mode access and switch port access VLAN 10.
VLAN 10 for
And
this
interface
interface.
fast Ethernet 03. Switch port mode access and switch port access VLAN 20.
Done for this switch part done. So right for this switch interface same container fast Ethernet 0/2 switch port unit done. Switch port mode access switch port access VLAN 40. Exit interface fast Ethernet 0/3 switch port access VLAN 50 and switch port mode is access. Now check the configuration, show running configuration. This is the configuration we did. And for this interface, we have not assigned trunk port because this interface is dynamic auto mode. So that is the reason It is by default in between trunk only established. So interface trunk. So you can check. In this trunk we can forward this many VLANs to this interface. Now you can enter with the inter VLAN routing with the help of SVI mode. We configured here SVI mode.
Alim, I
Which
have one
virtual-
doubt.
Yes.
సో ఇప్పుడు ఇక్కడ డైనమిక్ ఆటోలో ఉంది కదా బోత్ స్విచెస్.
Okay.
అండ్ నేను మళ్ళీ అయినా కానీ నేను ట్రంక్ పోర్ట్ కన్ఫిగర్ చేయాలనుకుంటున్నా. సో
ఇక్కడ
అప్పుడు ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం అవుతుందా, లేకపోతే
చేయొచ్చు
చేయొచ్చు కదా?
చేయొచ్చు.
లైక్ ఇంటర్ఫేస్ ఫాస్ట్ ఈథర్నెట్ FA01 స్విచ్ పోర్ట్ మోడ్ ట్రంక్ అండ్ స్విచ్ పోర్ట్ ట్రంక్ ఆ లోడ్ VLAN 10 and 20.
ఎస్ చేయొచ్చు. బోత్ సైడ్ మార్చుకోనో ఇష్యూ. ఇక్కడ మార్చుకో, ట్రంక్ పోర్ట్ మార్చుకోనో ఇష్యూ.
ఓకే.
సో దట్ కన్ఫిగరేషన్ విల్ డూ హియర్ ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్. ఆ కన్ఫిగరేషన్ ఇక్కడ చేద్దాండి. Ping 192.168.40.1 gateway. Yes, we can able to reach. Then host to host. This host 192.168.10.10 to 192.168.40.10. We are trying to ping. If no problem, they can able to ping. If something problem in between, they cannot able to. So we'll troubleshoot it. IP config, which IP we have configured 192.168.40.10. Yes, same IP address. Gateway also good.
Alim, I think you didn't configure IP routing on multi-switch.
Yes. IP routing. What is the requirement for this? If I will not configure it, what is the issue?
Because multi-layer switch, it cannot, what can I
Perform
say?
the routing.
Yeah, perform the routing without that command.
Okay. It's act as like L2 device only. We discussed it in
Yes.
theory. Yes. It is act as like the L2 device only. So we should have to enable the routing. IP routing command. So now you check. Yes, we can able to reach.
Yes, Alim.
So up to here we configured, and now we'll configure in between the router to switch and the switch to the switch. Same thing,
Alim,
same configuration is.
సో ఇప్పుడు రౌటర్ కాకుండా మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచ్ టు మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచ్ కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ ఒకసారి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయరా?
ఈ మధ్యలోనా?
లైక్ నేను ల్యాబ్లో చేసినప్పుడు ఐ కెన్ పింగ్ ఫ్రమ్ PC6 టు PC8 అప్ టు PC9, బట్ ఐ కెనాట్ పింగ్ PC10 అండ్ PC11. అంటే అక్కడ 2 మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచెస్లోనే ఏదో ప్రాబ్లం ఉంది. నాకు ఐ కెనాట్ అండర్స్టాండ్ దట్.
ఎక్కడ నుండి ఎక్కడ వరకు పింగ్ అయ్యారు మీరు?
నాకు PC6 నుండి PC9 లైక్ ఈ మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచ్లో అన్ని పింగ్ అయినాయి, బట్ ఐ కెనాట్ గో అవుట్ ఫ్రమ్ మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచ్ 1.
ఈ ల్యాన్ నుండి ఓకే, బట్
యా,
ఈ
ఆ
ల్యాన్
ల్యాన్లో నో ప్రాబ్లం. PC6 నుండి PC10కి ఐ కెనాట్ పింగ్.
that is what you will do. So that is your assignment actually.
యా,
Think
అంటే
about it.
మల్టీలేయర్ స్విచ్కి కాన్ఫిగరేషన్ నాకు అర్థం కాలేదు.
Okay, that is what I have given the assignment actually. What you will do in between.
యా, అది ఒకసారి ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తారా?
సో ఏం లేదు, ఇక్కడ ఈ రౌటింగ్స్ అన్ని అడ్వర్టైజ్ చేసి అండ్ ఈ రౌటింగ్స్ అన్ని ఇక్కడ అడ్వర్టైజ్ చేసి దెన్ ఇట్ విల్ బి కమ్యూనికేట్. అర్థమైందా?
డైనమిక్ డిజైరబుల్
So-
మోడ్లో పెట్టాలి.
లేదు. No. So here you can check. Show IP route. How many routings you are getting? Which routing informations you are getting?
First two.
192. 4 route. Whichever we
Yeah.
have a LAN connected, those many routes only we are getting. If you are get these routes also in this routing, then only you can communicate. Otherwise, you
Yes.
won't communicate. Got it?
Yeah.
So this is your task actually. So check here. So I will wait for STP show spanning tree. This bridge is a route, and so instances. Each instances having these all are the instances. Yesterday in STP what we discussed. So PVST by default it is here working per VLAN spanning tree. So that is why per VLAN we are getting this STP per VLAN. Done. STP part done. Now check. Show spanning tree. All the ports are forwarding state. Now show IP route. Same thing we are getting.
No, Alim.
So do that. This is our assignment actually. Okay. How you will get the routing and then do that. Definitely you can able to ping. Even though I'll explain by end of if you are not getting, so which piece is 60.10? This PC to this PC LAN, different LAN. Okay. This is your assignment. Do it. Definitely you can reach. Advertise the prefixes whichever here available, and these prefixes also make sure these LAN prefixes also available here. So IP route. Make sure entire prefixes available, then only you can able to reach. Show interface trunk. So fast Ethernet 0/3 and 0/4. You can check here. So they are transferring. So none means it is down. Once this port will be goes down, by default, it here redundancy will be happen. One port is down, second we have a redundancy, that is STP. So advertise the prefixes. So running configuration. Now you got it, I think. If you are not getting means now you got it or not? What I did?
Yeah, yes, Alim. So
Same.
each multi-layer switch, we need to configure every VLAN, like,
Yes.
for
Yes,
IP address.
yes. It is simple task only for your understanding purpose. Before routing, I have to give some task. That is the reason I have created one task for you. I have given. So now everyone got it or not? నీకు అర్థమైందా నితిన్ భావన అండ్ ఎవ్రీవన్
యా అర్థమైంది ట్రై చేసాం మేము కూడా అక్కడ దాకా మాకు పిన్ అవ్వట్లే సో ఒకసారి ట్రై చేసి రేపు చెప్తాను
ఫైన్ వాట్ అబౌట్ యూ భావన
We'll try again a link.
Can I close this lab?
యా మీరు చూపించినప్పుడు ఓకే 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 అనిపిస్తుంది. లైక్ వెన్ వి డూ ఇట్ యాక్చువల్లీ లైక్ ఇట్ డస్ నాట్. యా
Make practice every day, then only concepts will be clear. Otherwise, always confusion only.
హలో
Make sure
అదే
you have to practice. Yes.
హలో అదే
Ah, yes,
ఒకసారి
you
ఇది
are
కూడా
audible.
రికార్డ్ చేస్తారా? హలో
Ah, yes.
ఇది రికార్డ్ చేస్తారు కదా అదే ఒకసారి ఇది కూడా పెడతారా అదే యూట్యూబ్ లో ఇప్పుడు